Well, earlier I spoke to BRIGID Jones, who's Cabinet Member for Children and Family Services on Birmingham City Council, and Janet GRAUBERG, who chairs the Birmingham Children's Commission. And I began by asking Janet what was in the 10-year action plan which has been drawn up as a result of the survey.
We've made sort of three key recommendations. First of all, as we saw in that piece from UNESA, that the council should listen to children and young people consistently on an ongoing basis, so not just the one-off report that we've done. Secondly, that the leaders of their city should come together to make sure every child and young person has the opportunity to benefit from everything that's going on. And thirdly, that action should be taken now to deal with that issue that we heard about safety in parks and young people not feeling as though they're safe.
BRIGID Jones, lots of concerns there and issues for youngsters. What are you doing about them at the moment?
It's a really valuable piece of work the Children's Society have done for us, and we commissioned it precisely because we knew we weren't hearing the voices of young people as loudly and clearly as we should be. There's a lot of recommendations in there. We've taken them on board as a council, but for this to really work and change the city for young people, we need it to go beyond the council, to charities, to other organisations, to make sure that we make a real change all across the city.
Achievable though, because budget cuts.
Budget cuts are an issue, we can't deny that, but there's a lot in there that we can be doing for free. Listening to young people doesn't cost anything, and that's something we should be doing properly as a matter of course.
If you don't achieve all those aims, Janet, what is the future for young people in this city? And there are an awful lot of them.
And I think what we've heard is how they feel as though at times poverty holds them back. They don't have the opportunities that they could to flourish. So I think it is absolutely about the council and lots of others in the city coming forward, stepping up and saying that they want this to be a city that really wants every child to flourish.
BRIGID Jones, having heard that, where do you go from here to put all this into practice?
So some of this fits with the direction we're already travelling in. At the City Council, we're trying to move things into a district model so that decisions are taken in the districts people live in, close to their neighbourhoods. And one of the key things from this report is that young people see the city as their immediate surroundings. They see the neighbourhood that they live in as one of their most important things. So by devolving things down to those levels, we can take decisions at the level that actually children see our city at and make the right decisions for them and with them.
BRIGID Jones, Janet GRAUBERG, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, the time is coming up to 6:15. You're watching ITV News Central. Still to come, Ozzy Osbourne on why he's got no plans to retire just yet.
And I'll be getting hands-on with the ancient craft that's more popular than ever.
More details have been revealed about the last journey of King Richard III and the route his cortege will take from Leicester University to the cathedral, which will be his final resting place.
In March next year, a hearse bearing his remains will leave Fen Lane Farm onto the villages of Dadlington and Sutton Cheney. The Bosworth Battlefield, Heritage Centre, Market Bosworth, Newbold Vendon and Desford before re-entering the city of Leicester at Bow Bridge.
A horse-drawn hearse will then carry Richard's coffin to Leicester Cathedral, where for 3 days his remains will lie in repose for people to visit and pay their respects. King Richard will then be reburied in the cathedral at a service attended by, among others, the Bishop of Canterbury.
It's remarkable that all these years down the line, the point where his remains were discovered and the point where his remains will be reinterred in the cathedral behind me are only 100 steps apart. That's pretty amazing.
The national and international news is just a few moments away. Mary Nightingale has the headlines.
Tonight, allegations of a shocking failure by Greater Manchester Police to investigate suspected paedophiles. We have exclusive evidence that the allegations go much further than Rochdale, but were ignored. Tonight, the force's chief constable tells us he blames the court system. Also ahead, screening for Ebola begins at Britain's biggest airport. We're on the first flight to arrive at Heathrow. And a new spotlight on an old row as Mal Alamuddin Clooney wades into the fight over the Elgin marbles. We'll do your analysis due to me for that and more at 6:30.
He's one of Birmingham's most famous rock stars, and if he has his way, he'll still be rocking the stage for a few more years yet.
Black Sabbath's Ozzy Osbourne, who was born in Aston, has a lot to juggle at the moment, including a new grandchild, but he says being in his 60s doesn't mean he's ready to retire. He's been speaking to Ross King, and he began the chat talking about his solo work.
It's been quite a while since I've done any solo work. I've been touring, recording and touring with Black Sabbath. And that took a lot of, you can't just like do a record then go back in the studio. So what I've been doing along the way, I've been accumulating song ideas. So I said to Sharon, why don't we do something, a package to let them know that I'm still doing a solo career, I'm still got a solo career. And it turned out really good, and I was pleasantly surprised, you know.
When you look back at it, was there a lot you'd forgotten?
No, a lot of it I wish I hadn't done. The 80s, I don't know what was going through my head. I looked like some drag queen. To be honest with you, I don't like to watch myself on TV, or I don't like to. So I can't understand me, and I'm speaking.
So, as we said, it's not the end, because there's going to be a new album and a tour.
Yeah, after we're going to do Black Sabbath one more time. They want to pick up on a new album. We'll do another Black Sabbath tour. Straight after that, I'm going to do a solo album. But you know, people say you're 65, 66 in December. Shouldn't you think about retiring? Why should I retire? People want to see me and I'm having fun and they're having fun. What's the problem? There's no age. You're 65, you can't do it anymore.
Well, when you say, 66 in December, I mean, did you think you'd be around this long?
I remember when I was 24, I used to brag there saying, well, I'll be dead by the time I'm 40 anyway. That seems a lifetime away. It was all right till I was 39 and 3/4, but maybe I'm...
So what do you like to do then, Ozzy? Of an evening?
Sharon and I go to restaurants and we go out and about now and again. Sharon is an absolute unbelievable person. Her work ethic, so I've never known anybody like her. But we have our rows, we make up, but I couldn't imagine being with anybody else at this point.
He's special, isn't he? Hey? I can't understand what I'm saying and I'm speaking.
I'm still on his second answer, I think. I'm catching up slowly.
He's terrific, yeah.
He's great, isn't he?
Now, imagine this. Despite there being 125,000 miles of them in Britain, most of us don't bat an eyelid at dry stone walls. We just whiz past them in the countryside without a second thought.
However, there is more to them than you might think, and there's been a huge increase in people wanting to build them. Lucy Kite has been investigating in the latest instalment of Love Local.